Some beautiful fruited tea cakes on Wednesday. Today we're going to make some cinnamon caramel apple swirls. So kind of think of cinnamon swirls, but we're going to add in beautiful miso caramel. We're going to add apple and we're going to add some cinnamon as well. It's going to be amazing. So this recipe starts with a really good bread dough. It's enriched with milk and butter, so it's got that amazing sort of soft, buttery, brioche type texture. It's delicious. So 500 grams of strong bread flour to begin with, okay? And then we are going to add 14 grams of dried yeast. If you're using fresh, double up my recipe because dried is twice as strong as fresh. So if you were using fresh, you need to go for 30 grams. Okay, so we're going to go with 10 grams of salt, which is about 2 teaspoons. Put that to one side, and then I've got 50 grams of caster sugar. Now I'm using caster sugar because I don't want the dough to be darker. If you were to use brown sugar, that would darken the dough a little bit, so flavour-wise it'd be great, it'd be amazing. You could use golden caster sugar, but I'm using white today, so I get that nice sort of white fluffy dough. So I'm just going to mix those in a little bit. And then I'm going to add in 165 grams of butter, and this is salted butter at room temperature, alright? Really important, if you take it straight out of the fridge, it is not going to break up into the dough. So just sort of, with your fingers, just sort of rub it in a little bit, get it going. It'll all blend in soon. And then we'll make a well in the middle, and then we've got 300 mils of milk, okay? If you use the milk straight out of the fridge, everything's going to take a little bit longer because it's colder, okay? So if it's straight out of the fridge, just warm it up a little bit if you want, or add a splash of hot water to it just to warm everything up. And now I'm going to start to use my hand and twist it and roll it around the bowl until I get a dough. And once the dough is kind of in my hand and not in the bowl, I will transfer it onto the worktop and then we'll get kneading. Now, if you've got any questions at all about my recipes, please do post them in the Facebook page, and either myself or the team at Masterclass will answer them as best they can. All our recipes are on masterclass.co website, okay? And you can also find all my equipment that I use on cookserveandenjoy.com. New website, there's loads of amazing equipment on there. I'm always looking on it. Right, so I actually need a little bit more milk, okay? Because it's quite warm today, and on warm days, bread dough tends to need a bit more liquid because the flour is swollen up and it will absorb a little bit more. So, let's grab some milk. Right, so we'll just add a little bit at a time and just sort of feel for the right texture, okay? Dough, Emily. You can you see that?
Yeah.
It's quite grainy, it's not stretching, it just looks like porridge. Thick, stodgy, heavy porridge. So what it needs is work. We need to knead this dough and we need to develop the gluten. And the only way to do it is to stretch. So hold the dough with one hand, push it away with the other, bring it back, and do the same again. You could do this in a mixer, no problem. Just stick it on a low setting, let it do its thing until the dough is super smooth and stretchy, and it kind of sits on the dough hook and the bowl is clean, okay? But we're doing it by hand because I like to show people how to make bread dough by hand. And then if you choose to put it in the machine, that's your call. And at least you know what's going on. Whereas if I just chuck it on the machine and walk off, you just don't know what's going on. So, good stretch, no flour. I've not added any extra flour at all, okay? It's really important that you don't add more flour, because if you do, your dough will tighten and it will seize up and you won't get that lovely lift and that stretch and that just delicious sort of dough, okay? Oh, good workout this. So as I'm kneading, when I push forward, I go down on my toes. When I come back, I go up on my heels. And that kind of helps take the strain out. uses your own body weight to develop the dough. And you can feel what's happening. You can see the change, hopefully, as Emily's cutting in to the type on worktop. You can see this dough has now changed in appearance. And my worktop is relatively clean, okay? But can you see how that dough now works? It moves around. It doesn't stretch and tear. I mean, if you look at that now, Emily, can you see that?
Yeah.
It's now stretching. It's not there yet, but it is progressing and getting to where we want it to be. So once you've kneaded this for 10 minutes, you will get a really nice soft dough. Once you've got that dough, put it back in the bowl, cover it, and leave it to prove and double in size. So while my dough proves, I'm probably going to give it 45 minutes to an hour. It's quite warm in here today, so it will prove, double in size quite quickly. While that's happening, I'm going to show you how to make the most amazing salted miso caramel. And here's how I do it. Fantastic caramel recipe. Once you have made this, you will love it. It's amazing on vanilla ice cream. So make sure you make extra for the fridge. So, what we're going to do is we're going to take our apples and we're going to peel them. Okay, and I am the kind of person that needs to peel an apple in one go. I don't know why, but I am. And there's something very gratifying about getting it in one go, on camera, for everyone to see. And I've nearly done it. Yes!
It's the little thing.
Done. Right, can I get another one? Okay. Place your bets now.
No.
Of course I can. Very good peeler. Thank you very much, Masterclass. It's the secret. If you're like me and you need to peel an apple in one go, I would highly recommend the Masterclass Y-shaped peeler, because I have a feeling I'm going to get my second apple peeled in one go. Yes!
See,
right.
I would peel
It's
down.
hat-trick time. Never mind the recipe, it's hat-trick time. Can I get my third apple peeled in one go with this peeler? Are we ready? A lot of pressure. I need to get the core out of the way because that might just... Right, I'm off. Here we go. Can you imagine the comments that are going to come in today about this? Pete's recipe was really good, but it got a bit too excited about peeling apples. It's working, Emily. I'm flying down the wing, getting ready for my hat trick. Oh, he thinks it's all over. It is now a hat trick. Look at that, fellas. Oh, I'm so pleased with myself. Never mind anything else. 3 apples, 3 peelings. Done. Get one of these. Right, so we're going to grate the apple now. Okay? So, down to the core, turn it. Basically, I just do 4 sides. So I just grate off and I end up with a square core. It's the easiest way of doing it.
What else would go with the caramel?
Oh, you could add walnuts. You could do like a walnut caramel. You could do pears if you wanted to. You could add nuts and seeds to it. You don't have to add fruit. Orange peel is really nice. I went to a really famous bakery in San Francisco a couple of years ago called Tartine, and they do the most amazing cinnamon swirls with brioche dough. And if I'd have been able to bring you one back, Emily, I would have done, but I ate them.
You're not taking it.
I couldn't bring them back because they were so good. And they had orange and cinnamon and brown sugar in them. They were really good. Okay, so that's my grated apple from my 3 apples that I peeled all in one go. Just put it out there. I want to squeeze all the juice out because the juice is my enemy on this recipe. Alright, I don't want the juice because it will just soak into the dough. And what I want is kind of like, I just want apple flavour. So I've got another bowl here. I've got my cinnamon in here already, alright, so I'm just going to drop it in. So squeeze your apple. Pop it in there. Push it through a sieve if you prefer. It doesn't matter. Whatever way works for you is the important thing. So, There we go, nearly there. Nearly there. Oh, I can't believe I did that. 3 apples, all in one go. That is something else, that. That is pure skill. If only that was transferable skill to something else. Anyway, so if you've got any questions about the recipe, not about my peeling skills, please do post them in the Facebook feed and I will answer them, or the team will from Masterclass. And if you want any of my recipes, go to masterclass.co, the website, and you will find them all there. And if you want to get your hands on any of the equipment that I use, go to cookserveandenjoy.com because it's all there, really easy to get to, delivered to the door. Right, just wash my hands. Okay, so we have now got our apple, okay? And I'm just going to give it a little mix with cinnamon and get all that working, alright? There we go. Apple and cinnamon. What a combo. Right, let's get our bread dough. Okay, so our dough is all light, proved, fluffy and ready. So can you see, nice and smooth, yeah? Really easy to work with. So I'm just going to grab a little bit of flour because we're going to roll this. So really important, when you roll out, start with the shape you want to finish with, okay? So I want a rectangle, so I'm going to start with a rectangle. So roll it forwards, keep it moving, all right? Really important. If you need a little bit more flour, use a little, but be sparing with it because you don't want tons of stuff, all right? Just want a little bit. Okay, so you can see, when you see that, Emily, see how it's moving about?
Yeah.
That's what we want. If it's stuck to the worktop and you're battling it, it's not right. The dough is not the right texture. Okay? You want to be able to move it about, alright?
Looks quite satisfying, that.
It is. This is what I love bread making. I am happiest, I think. People ask me all the time, what do you love making most? And I actually think I'm happiest when I'm making dough and bread and just messing about, but I just love being in the kitchen. It's just my happy place. I'm very lucky. I've got my happy place is attached to my house. My studio is next to the house where we work, so I'm very lucky that I can just come in here and make stuff. And Emily can eat it. So it's the perfect working relationship. Right, so I've got my dough here, alright?
Just going back to the caramel peak.
Yeah.
You have to put the miso in if you're not.
You don't have to. You could just make salted caramel, or you could just make normal caramel if you want, but miso, it's fermented soybean, and it just adds a depth of flavour that you potentially have never tasted before, and I just think it's such a great addition. I actually came, again, I was in San Francisco working out there, and a chef called Barbara let me taste miso caramel, and I was like, oh my god, that's amazing. And it's got this fermented depth of flavour that you get way beyond just putting salt in your caramel. It's like the next level. And with a good vanilla ice cream, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Right, so caramel. Let's spread the caramel. That wasn't an aeroplane passing, that was Emily exhaling with excitement about apple and caramel in a bread dough. So I'm just going to put it down the middle to begin with, alright?
It's like two basic things in one, caramel and bread.
Yeah, and you've tried this miso caramel before, haven't you? You know what's coming. So don't be tempted to go overfill it, alright? Less is more. This is a gutsy, ballsy kind of caramel, alright? It's not just heavy sugar sweetness. It's got a depth of flavour. And our job is to get these flavours balanced together with the apple, okay? So let's take our apple, give it another squeeze just in case there's any more juice come out. Alright? And then we will just pop that on there. We're going to spread it in a minute. Okay. So let's just spread the apple. There's a pip there got through. Nice thin layer, okay? Again, like I said before, don't go mad on it. And you'll see why in a bit. And when you make these, because I know you're going to, alright? Because they are amazing. You'll see. Because if you overfill it, it'll just become quite stodgy. And it's really about just getting that lovely balance, okay? And that's kind of, I often find the difference. Chefs really focus on balance of flavours. There's a great baking technique with the dough, and then a chef's technique of balancing flavour. Okay. Are we going to try this one, Emily, this weekend?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, so what I want to do now is fold the dough halfway, alright? And then this dough halfway. You can let it ride over just a little bit, just to seal it in, okay? Just give it a little tap, and then we're going to dust it with a bit of flour. I'm going to fold it over, okay? And then flip it, yeah? And then do the same again. So I'm going to fold it, flip it. So now the fold is on the bottom, okay? Will make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, roll it just a little bit. We're just compressing the ingredients together now, okay? And we're just going to try and get a dough that is about 1 centimetre thick, but with a lovely sandwich filling of caramel and apple. Alright, now, time to get a knife. And we're going to cut these. Just going to trim the ends off. Trimmed both the edges off there. What we're now going to do is fold it over so it's half the size. Okay? And then let's just shift it over. That's it. And then we'll just trim that piece there. So just trim it so you've got some nice straight lines to work with. Okay? And then what we're going to do is we're going to cut about a 2 centimetre piece there. Alright? So we're going to cut them like so. Okay? Now let's take one piece. I'll just move these over so that we can concentrate on what we're going to do next. Alright, it's a little bit fiddly, but it's worth it. It's the weekend. Okay, so what we want to do is get a little bit of flour on our knife, like so, and then we're going to cut in. We're going to put 2 cuts in it, like so. This is how I first learned how to plait, much to my daughter's disgust. I'm not a great platter, but left over, there we go. Always over the middle is what I was taught. Is that what you were taught, Emily?
Yeah.
Always over the middle, like so. Then we're going to roll it up. Ooh,
These look so good.
Look at that. You see that?
Oh wow.
Deep muffin tins, okay, non-stick. And then we're going to pop that straight in there. And then we'll do exactly the same with all the others. So is that a good place to put it there, Emily?
Yeah.
See it all right? So, back to the technique. So you cut in, move that one to one side, and then cut in again. So you have 3 strands. Now forgive me for people who know how to plait, but I go from left over the middle, right over the middle, left, right, left, right. Don't know why I'm bobbing like I'm skiing, but that's what I'm doing. And then take the dough and roll it up. And it looks a bit cumbersome, but actually, because of all the twists, it just makes the most incredible sort of Danish pastry, sort of Nordic style caramel apple pastry bread loveliness. I don't know any other way to describe it. It's going to be good. Alright, so I'm going to carry on with these and I'll let Emily just cut in as I'm doing it. because the technique of this is vital. And once you've done a few, you'll be absolutely flying. Do you know what you could even do? Savoury ones of these, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Couldn't you?
Cheese. And
Mustard, cheese, chives, that'd be good. You could do like sun-dried tomato pesto, a bit of mozzarella or parmesan, that'd be nice. Okay, so...
What would you do about the sugar in your bread? Would that...
Well, I'd just do it without.
Yeah.
But actually, the sweet dough would probably work with like Parma ham and Gruyere and mustard or something like that. The sweetness, the brioche would probably work quite nicely. But you could do this with a normal bread dough. Easy. Right, let's just have a little clear up. Just to make sure. I'm quite pleased with these. I think these are working out well. It's one of those recipes, I think, like, you're halfway into it and you just think, oh no, this is not going to work. But actually, once you just twist them all up,
yeah,
it always just looks really, really good. Always. Roll it up, and then in it goes. Nice. So, last two. And then these are going to be left to prove, probably for about 30 minutes. Because of the sugar that's in the dough, you'll find that the second prove is a bit quicker than a normal bread dough, because the yeast has got food, it's got sugar in there, it's accelerated slightly. So keep your eye on it, but don't bake at a normal bread temperature. Make sure you bake these at about 170, because the sugar content that's in there, they'll go darker in the oven a lot quicker. So just keep your eye on that. These would be amazing with ice cream as a pudding, wouldn't they? Really good. Right, so we're just going to roll up that plat, encase all that flavour.
Warm with an extra drizzle of caramel on top.
Oh, well, that's why we make extra caramel, isn't it? Alright, so let me just get rid of that. So, there we go. Can you see these, Emily?
I can.
Right, so these will just sit there nicely. It's made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in this size. So if you wanted to make more, double up your recipe, no problem at all. These will take probably half an hour to 40 minutes to prove. And then into the oven, 25 minutes, 170 degrees. But when they come out of the oven, they're going to be boiling hot. So be careful, all right? Right, I cannot tell you how amazing these smell. Look at those wonderful buns. There's some good looking buns, these. So I can smell the caramel, the apple, and just that sort of gentle cinnamon spice that runs through it. But you can see how they've proved, all the plats have kind of woven all together. And let me just show you, look how non-stick this is. Straight out. And because of the caramel, the actual bake has caramelized at the bottom. Oh my goodness, these smell so good. They are crying out for an amazing cup of coffee. 11sies, here we come. Now, if you want the recipe, go to masterclass.co. You will find it there, and please do remember, send us your buns. I want to see your recipes. Hashtag show us your buns. Send me your bun recipes, because I would love to see what you're all baking out there. But for now, have a great weekend, and I will see you next week.